Hi, I'm Andy Burrows, PCT TV. I'm here with Mo Khan, who's the Executive Vice President of Clinical Development at Pharm-Olam International. Welcome, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
So just to start with, could you tell me what are Pharm-Olam's kind of core services and areas of focus?
So we are a full service global CRO. Next year will be our 25th year, so we're having a bit of a do for our anniversary next year. Our core areas are infectious diseases and vaccines. We have in fact contributed significant amount of data into over half the antibiotics registered in the last 10 years. We also do a lot of work in oncology, both in solid tumors and hematological, and have done through our 25-year history. And the third key area is orphan rare diseases. So in the last, I would say 3 to 5 years, we've seen a significant growth in the number of clinical trials conducted in orphan rare diseases. And this is something we have had significant success in. I think the great thing about orphan rare diseases for us is the fact that we, as a mid-sized CRO, are able to offer a much more faster, nimble service to our sponsors. And our market generally is small to mid-sized sponsors. And finally, we also do a number of general medicine studies. So for example, we do a lot of allergy trials, we do CNS, respiratory, and dermatology.
Okay, yeah, and so you touched on it there, but CRO space obviously very competitive at the moment. How do you differentiate yourselves?
So our size and the breadth, I think, is a key differentiator. I don't think there's any other CRO of our size that has the breadth of coverage that we have. And I'm talking about full-time, permanent, locally based staff. I think that's key.
Yeah.
You can always go to work with partners or vendors, but I don't think it's the same thing. You want full control of the resources you're allocating to the study, just to monitor resource time and quality and so on. So I think that's a key advantage. Some of the initiatives we've taken on board, what we term as our pattern of excellence, include, for example, project loyalty bonus scheme. So we often get the question, what is your staff turnover rate? Because staff turnover rate is currently a challenge in the industry, considering the lack of new CRAs coming into the industry. And I feel, it's a good question, but it's not a relevant question. What I think the more appropriate question is, what is your project team turnover?
Okay.
If you were a sponsor for us, for example, and we had 1% turnover in the whole company, you think that's pretty good. But if that 1% was all in your project team membership, you would not be happy. So I think the relevant question is, what is the project team turnover? So to allay that, what we've done is we've put together a project team loyalty bonus scheme. Another part is culture of accountability. We know our core business is clinical conduct. We're not a logistics company. We're not a technology company. So there are occasions when we need to use vendors, for example, a central lab and so on. And what we take on is full accountability of that ecosystem, okay? Not just the services we provide, but the services that we utilize in a project. Whether or not we are subcontracting, they're subcontracting to us or not. So even when a sponsor is contracting to a central lab and they're working on our project, we feel it's important for the success of the project that central lab works well. Because if they fail, we fail, the project fails. So we take on full accountability for the whole ecosystem of services that we are providing, or our vendors or our partners are providing. Another point is we utilize bowtie risk assessment, which is a proactive way of visualizing risks. So, and we are very transparent and upfront with all our customers, and we identify all the risks and all the preventive actions that we will take place for those risks not to become effective. But if those risks were to actualize, then we put in mitigation factors. What are we going to do to minimize their impact? EVM, earned value management. And the key thing about earned value management is not to just look at planned costs versus actual costs, but also actually look at the project progress. A lot of people track and say, we've done 50% of our monitoring, therefore we are 50% complete on the project. Well, that's not a correct measure, because you may only have enrolled 20% of your patients, but completed 50% of your monitoring. You're not 50% of the project through. Or you could say, oh, I've enrolled 50% of the patients, therefore I am 50% through my project. Well, if those patients are not monitored yet, you're not really doing that. So what we look at is data points. So we calculate how many data points each patient has, how many patients we need, so we can project what are the total data points that we need to monitor, to SDV, and to log. And that's a great measure of project progress. So we use that to see what is the cash burn, what is the projected cash revenue, and how much of the work is being done. And that gives the sponsor a real-time idea of exactly how much money they've spent and what they spent it on, which I think is key. It's not just about sending an invoice and saying we've hit this milestone.
Absolutely.
What work has been done to reach that milestone?
Right.
So that's another key measure. And finally, performance-based contracts. So we proactively volunteer to use performance-based contracts for our clients. So we like to align our interests with the client. So we want us to be successful if the client is successful. So we don't want to be incentivized to do something else. So we've offered our clients a variety of options on how the contract should be aligned and what is their measure of success and how we can align that to how we are rewarded. And that's some of the ways I think we differentiate ourselves from our competition.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.